Welcome back to another episode of the Alpha Nation, everyone. We've got the big head coach, Gregory Wasson, on again for his wealth of knowledge and experience in the fitness industry, because we've got a bit of a special episode coming up today. So welcome back on, Greg.
Thanks, mate. Let's not make a habit of this, though. Bring back Coach Lizzie B, I say.
Where's Lizzie B at? I thought she'd be on today.
I don't know how I'm meant to be the boss of the show, and I keep getting told I'm attending again, mate. What
you got thrown into this.
About?
It's like, oh, you guys are doing this again. Sick.
I thought being boss had perks. It was shit.
Apparently not. Mate, Lizzie B's running the joint. Come on.
Yeah, we all know that.
Let's be real.
Brit run the show, mate. They had from day one.
Content queen. So yeah, we're going to be busting all these myths today. Busting all over them. So, yeah, obviously, without further ado, I'll say we get into them. So
let's get ripping in.
We've compiled a bit of a list for you guys of some very common fitness myths that we hear you guys say, and that we've just come across on the internet. So
it's not just those guys. I reckon we've come across a few coaches over the years as well that have
definitely
had a few of these myths, mate. A few have popped up
that we see from a lot of very popular Instagram content creators and stuff, which, you know, they've got their place, I'm sure, right? So yeah, without breaking down the stupid exercises or anything they do, so we get into this. So the first myth that we kind of want to talk about: exercise is the most important thing for fat loss. What do we say about that?
It's a factor in fat loss, certainly. Otherwise, we'd probably wouldn't have too many clients if that
wasn't
have
much of a job.
It's kind of what we do mostly.
Yeah, I mean,
but certainly not. I wouldn't say the most important factor. So that's probably the big one. Most people think, shit, I want to lose weight.
Got to start running.
Go do an hour of cardio every day.
Literally, yeah.
And then that's going to help. But you know, if you didn't stop at Macca's before and after your run and eat a large Big Mac meal, you probably didn't have to run for an hour every day.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, just let's bring that back a bit. I mean, obviously, it is super important when you get into like goal-dependent, I guess, goals or individual-dependent goals, where say you know you want to lift heavy weights. What are you going to do?
Then exercise is probably the most important.
It's probably good. Yeah. I mean,
along with many other variables again, but it is probably the most important one.
Yeah, but obviously.
But in terms of
nutrition,
in fat loss terms, it's certainly energy balance.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I don't know how many times we've raved on about that. But quickly, energy in, energy out, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
There's a lot more to it than exercise. You eat such a small, tiny part of the TDEE.
Yeah, literally. It's like...
What? BMR being the biggest.
What percentage is it?
NEAT. 5 to 10, I believe. 5 to 10%.
Around there.
So really, even if you didn't exercise at all, there's only 5 to 10% less calories you consume, and you're back to base level on the fat loss perspective. Many other benefits to
plenty of others, exactly. So,
which I think we cover. I think there's a myth we might cover that down the track.
I think we will. That's a bit down further, I think.
Yeah, right down the bottom. We might not have time for it. That might be part 2.
Mate,
the amount of myths we got, there could be a couple
this
parts
is
to this.
Firing in the chat.
This could be a trilogy, mate.
Literally, you're like, all right, we need myths, let's go. And I'm like, fuck yeah, let's go. All right.
Every time I blinked, there was 5 more.
We got Britt and Liz contributing. Oh, Britt contributing. Yeah. Liz just coming in a bit after, but...
loving it.
The second one we thought of: heavy weights for big muscles, light weights for muscle tone. Now, there's 2 kind of myths in this one. Again, take this one away and I'll contribute as we go.
All right, so for one, heavy weights aren't the only way to big muscles, and light weights are also another way to hypertrophy muscles. So heavy weights and light weights will both hypertrophy muscles or make muscles bigger. I actually went to the extent, so when we did all this, I did a bit of research on a few things, and I went and looked at the definition of toned and muscular. So toned, give greater strength or firmness to the body or a muscle. Was that a bigger muscle? Does that sound like a definition of a bigger muscle?
It's just a harder muscle, really.
And muscular, all right? Here's the definition of muscular: having well-developed muscles. Sounds like a pretty similar definition, does it not?
Pretty close, I guess.
So, I don't know, I'm no genius, but I'm going to say bigger muscles and toned muscles are the same fucking thing.
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, the more activity your muscles get, I guess, the more prepared they are at rest. So muscle tone is purely just the amount of activity in your muscle, like how firm, how hard, etc. So yeah, just getting bigger muscles. You're going to get harder muscles. You got to use them a little bit, right?
Same, right?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, in regards to tone, as most people put it, again, calorie deficit's going to be a big one. Like, I don't know how many times in this video we're going to come back to that, but calorie deficit.
Yeah. I reckon we're going to probably, what do we got, like 20-something tips?
26?
I reckon at least on 25 of them, we're going to talk about an energy deficit.
I mean, 2 from 2, let's go. 3 is another big one. You have to stretch before you train. So,
well, we all know my views on warm-ups before workouts. It is literally, okay, you're going to bench press today.
Let's bench
we'll do a set. We'll do a couple sets of warm-ups and then away we go, straight into it.
Literally.
But stretching, if we're talking about different forms of stretching, static stretching, no. So static stretching, when we hold a stretch for 30 to 2 minutes sort of thing. Also, well, I think they say though it has to be held for about over a minute. We've discussed this before in a meeting. What's the actual timeline when it actually is detrimental?
Detrimental. I don't know the detriment. I mean, I'd assume it's as soon as you start stretching a cold muscle is never a good idea.
This is true.
Bit of risk for, I guess, tears or anything like that. But also, static stretches are between 10 to 20 seconds done about 3 to 5 sets. So about, I would say 30 seconds to a minute is going to be detrimental to your training. Because...
And when you stretch a muscle, do you also stretch tendons and ligaments as well?
And fascia as well. The whole lot. But it could also be detrimental purely for the fact that, after you stretch, your force production in your muscles actually goes down. Your proprioception when you're about to do a lift, say you stretch your glutes before you squat, your glutes aren't going to be the same length as when you're used to squatting. So your form can also go out the window. I mean, obviously in severe cases, it's not really that bad, but it doesn't get that bad, but it's just generally a bit more of a hindrance stretching before training. I mean, I'm all for it after training. You need to do it. It's great for recovery. Gets a bit of blood, nutrient-rich blood into your muscles afterwards, which can aid in recovery. But apart from that, just do dynamic stretches or, I guess, dynamic
activation,
movements.
Mobility.
All that kind of stuff. Lizzie B's big on activation, so we'll leave that.
She's got a few of their activation and mobility videos up on our Instagram.
Yeah, up on the Alpha Insta.
Where they are.
I mean, I hope so.
Find them.
You should be able to find them.
I'm pretty sure they're there.
That's kind of where most of our stuff goes.
We assume anyway. Liz controls all that.
Yeah, she's also controlling that as well. So she is alpha. All right, number 4. Fasted cardio burns more fat than fed cardio.
All right, so fasted cardio has long been the in the bodybuilding realm, I guess.
It's been kind of like,
and there's still to this day. Yeah, still to this day. There's still. I got off the phone to someone the other day. Ben, shout out to Benny. How you going, Benny boy? He definitely doesn't listen to this.
He did.
He got off the phone and said, I was chatting to so-and-so the other day, and he said, get up in the morning and do your 60 to 70% max heart rate or whatever beats per minute, he told him. And that's the best way. That's how I got shredded, blah, 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 blah. So it's still to this day a thing. And then I kind of did it is
really?
He had his beats per minute right for his fat burning zone, so he was utilizing fats. But again, is this number 3 out of 4 that we're going to mention an energy deficit?
Yeah.
Absolutely. There we go. Energy deficit is how you're actually going to lose weight. Burning fat and losing weight are 2 different things.
Absolutely.
Because your body can utilize fats as a fuel source when you're in your fat burning zone. What is it, 60 to 70%?
60 to 70, somewhere around there.
60 to 70 is your fat burning. And fat burning doesn't necessarily mean weight loss. That just means your body is utilizing fats.
As a fuel source.
It is not using the carbohydrates that are in there. Yeah. And then they will then be
added
essentially stored into fats in your body later.
I mean, if you think about it, if you're going to be eating the same amount of calories over the fucking day, it's not going to make any difference at all.
Doesn't matter when you do your fucking cardio. If you prefer to do it in the morning fasted, go ahead and do it.
By all means. Probably don't weight train early fasted.
Yeah, no,
That's
fasted weight training, not a good idea.
It's usually a kind of road to disaster, or just a poor training session really. But yeah, I mean, if you think you're going to skip breakfast, train, and then eat your breakfast after anyway, that's the same amount of calories going in, same amount of calories you burnt. Weigh it up, do what you like, but take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
This one I get a lot, especially from my misso herself as well. Lifting weights will make chicks bulky.
Bulky.
Or it'll make chicks look more manly.
Look more manly. Okay.
Mate,
so
if lifting weights made you look manly,
let's just go back to what makes a man and a female, right? Everyone kind of looks the same body-wise until puberty. Puberty comes along, males start releasing all these androgenic hormones, mainly testosterone, DHEA, and whatever the other androgenic hormone is. Females tend to produce a lot less. That's why men become androgenic and male-like. That's why females become female-like.
Get bigger
so
muscles.
No, lifting weights will not increase your testosterone women's dramatically or your DHA levels dramatically. Women, you will not look like a man by lifting weights.
Lift weights. It's good for you.
Otherwise, like, sex changes wouldn't exist, right?
Yeah, just
Women
lift weights.
would just have to lift weights and they would become men.
Well, worry about jab and tea. Just lift weights.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Simple.
I'd rather lift
You
weights.
don't need all the
than have a
surgeries. Don't worry about the surgeries or anything like that. Just
I mean, that comes
Just
into
lift
a little
weights.
bit later down the track, I'm sure. But yeah, like, women generally just have less testosterone than men. Your muscle building potential is going to be a lot lower than men. Plus, if lifting weights made you look more manly or made you look bulky, I'd look more bulky. Come on, like, it's it's
You're not, it's very rare. It's going to come into like a lot of factors, but I'm yet to see a woman that I've trained tell me she's too bulky.
Oh, absolutely.
It might be a fear in the early stages.
Obviously, it's a fear, but like when you get into it, it's like
once they realise, hang on, I'm busting my absolute ass and I'm just looking awesome and feeling awesome.
Yeah,
this is awesome.
It's better even.
Yeah.
So this is one that you've put in yourself, number 6. A high protein diet will cause kidney damage.
Yeah, I just added this in because we only spoke about it in our meeting on Monday. And I thought it was kind of cool when Coach Britt, the in-house nutritionist, covered it for us, mate.
Talking about that. Something about it was only more protein or high protein diet is only, I guess, a problem if you've got kidney problems in the first place. Because less protein will make your kidneys shrink, therefore something along those lines. Super
I think
informative.
it's just a common theme to reduce protein intake with existing kidney issues.
Yeah.
But I don't even know if Britt explained whether there was any actual scientific
backing for that.
It. It just seems to be a common thing. And they said it may help.
Might.
But anyone with perfectly fine kidneys, you do not have any issues.
You'll be fine.
You eat as much protein as you want. It's just going to be converted into energy if it's not used for any other purpose.
Exactly.
So shouldn't cause any dramas. There is no scientific literature out there anywhere
about
to say otherwise.
Yeah, exactly. Number 7. This is one I used to say a lot when I was a kid. But when you way back when, but when you exercise, you turn fat into muscle. Yesterday, you turn fat into muscle, and when you stop training, your muscle turns into fat. Or if you're not using it, your muscles will turn to fat. They're two purely different tissues made up of completely different things. Yeah. Fat cells, largely predominantly fat, I guess. Whereas obviously your muscles are a mix of carbohydrates, lots of protein. Obviously, they're the building blocks of our cells. They're two completely different tissues. Our body cannot convert one into the other or the other into one.
You can't turn a banana into an apple and an apple into a banana.
Exactly. You got to... I mean, you can't even break an apple down to then use the energy as a banana, but, So if you stop lifting, your muscles will not turn to fat. Obviously, they'll shrink a little bit. That's purely just because, the muscle tone goes down a little bit, but also just detraining is a thing. Your body wants to conserve as much energy as it can. Muscles are very active tissue. They take up a lot of calories or a lot of energy. As soon as you're not using them as much, your body's like, fuck, we're not using these. We may as well use the energy somewhere else. So yeah, generally when you stop training, you'll tend to look more fat, less muscular. That's purely just because of your lifestyle factors, not your muscle.
Your body fat percentage will likely increase. If you only lose lean body mass, your body fat percentage will increase.
Yeah.
So you appear fatter, but you have not gained any fat. You've just lost lean body mass.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Number 8 of the day. You need to feel sore after a workout for it to have pushed you hard enough to make adaptations. Now,
do you know how many people I still have to convince of this one as well?
Fuck, you don't need to be sore.
This is one of my biggest headaches.
It's like, I'm fucking sore after this. That was a great workout.
Yeah, or I wasn't sore. Do you think we need to do a little bit more?
Yeah.
No, we don't need to do a little bit fucking more. We're doing 20 sets per muscle group a fucking week.
Heaps.
What do you want?
What do you mean they're not sore after that? Are you kidding? I get sore when I do 8 sets per muscle group per week.
Yeah,
come on.
I haven't pushed hard enough in about 5-6 years to get sore, so I don't know what muscle soreness is either.
And I mean, look at you now. You're still a big dog.
Yeah, well, I don't know about that.
COVID's getting to you.
Yeah, down life.
Yeah, you still got to work close enough to failure for muscle hypertrophy and stuff, but you don't need to be sore to lose fat, or you don't need to be sore to gain muscle. In fact, it's probably even a hindrance if, you've smashed yourself on chest on Monday and then you're still sore by Wednesday when you go to train chest again, for example. You're going to have a worse workout the second workout. We'd rather have 2 good workouts than one really good one and one really shit one. So that way we can keep that kind of stimulus going for a longer period of time, higher rates of muscle protein synthesis or higher spike. You're getting a bit more muscle through that.
Probably can touch on your hypertrophy mechanisms. So you're probably, when we're sore, we're looking at muscle damage. And out of the 3, it's probably the least important one or the least effective one. It's like what we kind of go off anyway. For that reason, like you just said, is pretty much, if you're sore, there's obviously a bigger recovery toll, right? So if it's just as effective, muscle damage is just as effective as metabolic stress, but there's a larger recovery toll for muscle damage, why wouldn't we just use metabolic stress or mechanical tension?
I'm all for doing things the easy way. Like, why the fuck would I bust my gut if I could get the same results? If not better, not doing that.
But you will get better results because you don't need to recover as hard. Exactly. So then we could increase the amount we do.
Increase the frequency, increase the volume even more.
So we get more out of it. So least favoured. But maybe touch more on that as well. So ways that, if someone tells me they want to be sore, I slow down their eccentrics and I just put them in a lengthened range of motion.
Absolutely.
For an exercise.
Anything stretched or eccentric, done. But this is still a big one that I hear all the time. Like, you see...
You can't convince people otherwise. I still can't. They still want that badge of honour of soreness.
Oh, I'm sore. I had a good workout. Fuck yeah. Like, this is my badge. I went to the gym.
Yeah. But even like I said, I don't really get sore. But these days, if I do get sore, I'm like, maybe I did work hard enough this time.
I did do all right.
Maybe I did do enough volume. Maybe I did.
But it's just kind of like, it's more of a kind of psychological, like...
Yeah, it's a badge of honour.
Yeah, hey, we did this. We're good.
Yeah.
But like, you see, any trainer can make you feel sore. Can any trainer get you the good result? Like, good results. Like...
Exactly.
If your trainer's just flogging you every session just to make you sore without a reason behind it.
If you're chasing soreness and no actual... Unless your goal is to be sore, then let's make someone sore.
We'll fucking make you sore.
Yeah. But most people's goal is not just to be sore. Yeah. That's just a bit of a sub-goal of,
side effect. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So if you can find a way to your goal more effectively, maybe... skip out on the soreness. Yeah,
it'd be easier for you too. Like, you just live life better. This is another one that I see sport commentators actually talk about. It's just a little pet peeve for me, being all scientific and stuff. But soreness is caused by lactic acid build-up in your muscles.
So we kind of almost just covered it, didn't we?
Yeah, which I mean, the soreness by lactic acid is purely just the hydrogen ions.
It's more of an acute soreness though, isn't it?
It's like, you have a pump. That burn. The pump,
You have a pump. 20 minutes later, when you've stopped exercising, that acute soreness is over.
You might still feel a bit of disruption, but you're not in agonising pain, like wanting to
Yeah.
chop your arms off after a set of tricep extensions or something.
So the lactic acid buildup doesn't sort of build that 2-3 day, 4 day soreness that
No.
we're talking about in the previous myth.
It's more of a
This is acute soreness during the workout.
big burn now.
10, 20, yeah.
Your body will flush
Gone.
out all the hydrogen
Sure.
ions, flush out all the lactic acid, and then you're good to go.
Yep.
But yeah, that's just another one.
So lactic acid is not the cause of soreness.
It's not the cause of soreness. I
Or
mean,
DOMS, perhaps we should say.
DOMS.
Yeah.
Number 10. Halfway through, almost. Actually, that's well not halfway through. Number 10. Can I do
Got plenty
maths?
to go, mate.
20 to go. Resistance training in children and adolescents will stunt their growth.
Yeah, again, this is another one that's pretty common. There is literally no science behind this. If you go search it, you will just not find. I think there was like one study once. I can't even remember it.
It was one study, but it was done on labour workers or youth labour workers in some developing country. Not comfortable.
where they weren't eating properly anyway.
Not
or
eating
something
enough,
along
under high loads, just, moving stuff all day in construction and stuff. Their growth is going to be stunted purely because they're not getting enough nutrition.
Every other kid in that place had stunted growth as well, right? Not just the ones that
not just
were in
one
the
kid.
study.
Everyone had stunted growth. So pick and choose. But yeah, like resistance training at a young age is actually starting to be more recommended too by the Australian guidelines as well.
Same benefits for you and me as it is for a
kids.
6-year-old, 7-year-old, right?
Like, so because I'm doing my sports science degree at the moment, we were talking about training youth or, fitness throughout the ages from birth, what kind of physical activity kids need, their tummy time, all that kind of stuff, all the way through to, elderly. Resistance training is actually starting to be recommended younger and younger. So I think it's prepubescent kids now are actually encouraged to start learning the fundamentals of resistance training because it's going to help them better develop during puberty as well. So it kind of gives them a better base kind of start as well. Start them younger, they're going to retain it a bit better. But
That's it.
yeah, obviously don't get them doing anything stupid. 1 rep maxes, you're just going to fuck yourself up. Come on.
Kids tend to lack the coordination. I mean, there's a lot of
Uncoordinated adults.
but kids tend to really lack that coordination and things like that.
And that proprioception.
I know even with my kids, like now that we've got the home gym going again, they're in there stuffing around every now and then.
Doing the little
it takes about 10 times longer to try and learn an exercise.
100%.
And then it's select an appropriate load.
Yeah.
Like you said, don't have a kid doing a 1 rep max.
Like
body weight exercises. Suspension trainers are pretty good for kids.
Pretty good start.
And they're kids, man. Just get them out kicking a ball and running around and riding bikes.
Get
and
them
shit
moving.
like that.
Whatever they
That's
want to do, let
exercise.
them do.
Yeah, exactly. As
within
long as they're
reason.
moving and not sitting inside on screens.
Yeah, exactly. Number 11, also another big one. Super big misconception, but sweating is a result of fat loss.
I hate this one. I think I trained someone the other day.
So did I.
That was wearing their hoodie and trackies, telling me that we're training outdoors for one.
And like the saunas and stuff.
you're losing weight through dehydration.
That's water. That's your water and electrolytes. You're going to need to replenish them anyway.
Sweating is literally just the body's natural mechanism of cooling off, right?
Yeah. Like if
Put
you're
some moisture on it and then a breeze hits you, you cool off. That's pretty much why the body primarily sweats when we exercise.
Like,
I think you can delve a bit deeper, but
we don't. We don't want to.
Yeah, let's not go there.
Let's not overcomplicate this.
Yeah.
But yeah, sweating. I mean, yeah, a little bit of a correlation. If you're working hard enough, like your heart rate's up enough, your body's going to want to cool down.
Metabolic rate, yeah.
Maybe. I mean, yeah, but just sweating itself, going to a sauna, you're not going to lose fat doing that. Yeah. It's purely water weight and electrolytes.
And dangerous too. Dehydration is a very dangerous thing, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
We do not give the tick of approval to
don't encourage
weight loss
it at
through
all.
sweating.
It's fuck. Can you imagine? Yeah, and then you're going to drink water and put it all back on anyway. So
exactly.
200 grams maybe tops of a
I mean, in terms of like fighters and stuff having to make weight and then they just rehydrate.
That's a different story.
It's pretty rare.
Yeah.
Scenario where we would recommend someone try and sweat more for the weight loss.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Like, I don't sweat when I'm training, and I'm not fat myself, so like
That's it, mate. No.
yeah, eating after 6 p.m. will make you fat. This is another one that's going to come down to that.
If, say you hit your energy requirements were perfectly balanced at 5:59 p.m.
Fuck, smart ass here.
You then ate at 6 p.m. It will make you fat. It will make you gain fat.
Yeah, even if it's only like 200 calories.
Yeah.
That's 200 calories.
So,
extra.
eating after 6 p.m. could make you fat.
If you're in a caloric surplus. Again, comes down to energy balance. Like, we preach this all the time. It's just fucking, come on.
Doesn't matter what fucking time of the day you eat.
Yeah, it's either...
Eat when you want to eat. Eat when it suits you to eat.
Eat when you're hungry.
I mean, there's a few little guidelines around bits and pieces, but in general, eat when you want to eat. Eating after a certain time or before a certain time will not make you gain
or lose weight.
More fat. Yeah, just
exactly.
Not going to happen. Energy in, energy out.
Here's two that kind of go together here. We got number 13. Fats will make you fat. If you're in a caloric surplus.
If it leads to an energy surplus, fat will certainly make you fat. If it makes you hit your calorie target that is required for whatever your goal is, then no, it will not.
Also, don't shun fats. They're also super important.
Yeah, you need to hit a certain amount of fats, nutrient absorption, cell health, hormones, blah, blah, blah. The list goes on. I think I touched on fats a little bit in our last podcast with Kingy, didn't I?
Yeah, I think we would have.
Did we talk about fats? Yeah,
it's somewhere in there. It sounds familiar.
Listen to the last one if you want to hear more about fats. I think we've mentioned something about it there.
It's somewhere in that hour and 10 minute long podcast. If you want to sit through that.
Fats are essential. Do not avoid fats.
Absolutely not. Carbs will make you fat. To all you keto zealots out there.
Again, if it leads to an energy surplus, they will lead to fat gain. If you hit your calorie targets bang on, you will not.
Yeah, exactly.
But again, they're kind of the body's preferred fuel source, so
we do need
why not have them?
Yeah, exactly.
And then like most of our fruits and veggies and things like that tend to be more carb. Yeah.
You don't really want to be missing out on all those
food
good
sources.
Nutrients.
So again, avoiding carbs could lead to deficiencies in vitamins and minerals and things like that. So again, I've had a few people over the years go low carb, and I mean at certain times it has its place because proteins and fats are definitely more essential than carbs. But in general, I would say eat carbs. Yeah,
absolutely.
They're great and tasty. All the tasty foods have carbs in it.
They are, aren't they? Like, come on. Why would you cut all of those out? Come on.
Exactly. Have you ever gone low carb when you've had to obviously get to a certain point in a diet? How shit do you feel?
Like, you just feel groggy too.
You're searching for energy and you just can't
find it. It's not happening.
8 coffees a day.
Fuck yeah. Oh, mate, I think that was, probably my worst. 8 coffees a day would be like, low points of a diet. It's, but again, pick and choose when it's necessary. Like, it does get to the point where you still need to hit your fat target. You still need to hit your protein target when you're getting into a deep deficit. But general population and general fat loss that most people are looking after,
you don't need to.
As long as you're in a caloric deficit, either or, usually a good idea to have like a bit of a spread in your deficit of fats and carbs. Just keep you kind of well-rounded. Still keep that balanced diet. This is another one for all you keto zealots out there. Butter in your coffee is healthier than sugar in your coffee.
It's the bulletproof coffee.
Bulletproof coffee. Yeah, that's the one. Go on.
I'll go first.
You go first.
So, if it was from a fat loss standpoint, certainly not, because a fucking chunk of butter is going to have a lot more calories than your little teaspoon of sugar. So from that standpoint, no, it is certainly not. But in a nutrient standpoint, butter would contain more vitamins and good fats.
But also saturated fats.
Yeah, but it's got CLA in that, so it's not too bad. But the vitamins in it. So from a fat loss standpoint, I would say
don't worry
definitely
about
not.
it.
From a micronutrient standpoint, I would probably say if you had to choose one or the other, you've probably got to go with butter because you're going to get more out of it.
But then also think.
But you could also just be a man and have your coffees
just have
black.
a coffee with it.
Just have a black coffee.
Or just have them black.
Just strong, just long and black. If you need to have your sweetener too, artificial sweeteners, stevia, things like that.
Yeah.
Just
Makes
Go
your
for
coffee
them.
sweet. No calories.
I don't know. Do you have artificial sweeteners in your coffee? I drink black coffee, so I literally have no
I
idea.
drink dirty chais, so...
You're no help either.
No.
So we're no help, but I'm sure there's an artificial low-calorie sweetener out there somewhere that's even better than sugar. But don't be afraid of sugar. If you want sugar in your fucking coffee, I let people have sugar in their coffee all the time.
Right,
you want to have 1 or 2 sugars, it is minimal. What's the average teaspoon of sugar someone has?
Usually about that.
How many calories?
I don't know. How many is that? That's like 5 grams of sugar?
Yeah. So what do you get? 20
calories?
20 calories?
Thereabouts?
Yeah, who gives a fuck? Have 2 coffees a day with a teaspoon of sugar in each, you're getting an extra 40 calories.
40 calories. I mean, obviously, if you're having black coffees with sugar.
But if you were having butter in that, I imagine let's say if the equivalent of butter,
5 grams of butter.
More. It's got to,
So you get 5 grams of butter, that's going to be, whatever, 5 times 9 is 45 calories. Oh, it's marginal. No, yeah, that's a lot more. Twice as much.
It's a lot more. It's double.
Yeah.
It should be more than double.
More than double. Double and a bit. Yeah, so...
But is butter... Hold on, I'm going on my own tangent here. Is butter pure fat? I know it's a fat source, but is it pure fat? Is it...
It's not pure fat, I don't think.
It's pretty high, though.
It would be. It's a very high percent.
I think it's like 700 cal per 100, so a few grams, you'd still be getting times 7 by 5.
Yeah, well, 760 calories or something like that.
It's almost double. It's almost double. It would be almost double.
Yeah.
We can move on now.
We can. So, training and eating, like insert famous influencer here, will make me look like them. So, influencers.
I'm gonna go back to when I was younger. So influencers didn't exist when I first got into this. But people like your pro bodybuilders, like Dorian Yates, your Ronnie Coleman's, and even Arnie still is like the god always. So.
Encyclopedia.
And I had Arnie's encyclopedia. I copied it to the T.
We've all been there.
Still don't look like Arnie.
I had
Dorian Yates training videos.
Don't look like Dorian.
Still don't look like Dorian Yates. I had Ronnie Coleman's fucking training videos.
Yeah.
Still don't look like Ronnie Coleman.
You're not taking all the drugs that they're taking, but...
Well, but so there you go. Like, whatever they're doing is one thing. Whatever their genetic profile tends to be is another thing.
Their lifestyle as well.
People tend to become, their lifestyle. People tend to become good at things because they gravitate towards what their body's good at.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, you don't see many bodybuilders make it with shit insertions or anything
exactly.
like that.
It just doesn't happen. So, like my shitty insertions, I know I got impressive carbs, but apart from that...
So impressive. Froth them.
But most influencers, you'll see that to look like them, you probably have to buy X product that they sell or the code that they give. And then they give the promises of looking like them. And training and eating like whoever is not going to make you look like them because you can look the best version of you, they look the best version of themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone's an individual.
Completely different. Like,
use a body. I think usually like when someone comes to me with a goal saying, I want to look like so-and-so, I say, okay, let's use that as our base. You're obviously a different person. Let's strive towards what they have in muscle mass areas and body fat percentages, and then you're going to look like your version of that.
Yeah, exactly.
That's kind of where I go with that.
Going to be the best version of you. They're their version of them. Like
them, exactly.
Plus also, most of the influencers are taking lots of...
Yeah. They're probably
other
taking
special sports supplements and
stuff
like that. Plus their lifestyle.
Maybe we'll do a podcast on the saucy stuff one day. We should bring someone in. I might approach a few people and maybe we'll do a podcast.
So how's the gear?
Why not?
I mean, we may as well. It's definitely a topic that most people or a lot of people are interested in.
It's pretty big in gyms these days. Maybe we'll bring in an expert.
Yeah, we'll bring it out of that taboo area.
Let's delve into it one day. We'll see.
This one's from Brittany herself. Sugar's the devil.
Was this just a shot at a certain someone?
I think it was, yeah. But I mean, we can also break it down because it is a very common misconception as well. Like most people are like, I can't be eating sugar in this. Sugar sip's bad for you. Why would you eat it? Like, it's got its place. Like,
yeah, definitely.
I mean.
Have you ever eaten like a sugar-free chocolate or sugar-free ice cream?
Oh, it's so bad, isn't it?
No,
just don't do it.
Do that.
Don't put yourself through that shit. Come on.
Just eat sugar, man. Like I think that answers it alone.
If you're having ice cream or chocolate, full stop.
Shit.
If you're having ice cream or chocolate, full stop. Why even just bother.
Exactly.
Like, it's there.
Exactly.
But yeah,
And like we said before, carbs are so prevalent in fruits and veg. Fruits is basically all sugar, any carb in them.
Exactly.
So, you know what, you're just going to cut out fruits from your diet when
That's
they're such
probably
a
the worst thing
healthy,
you can do. Look at all
nutritious...
the vitamins, minerals you got, all missing out on all that. Like,
so, no, sugars are not the devil.
It's...
Sugars taste great.
Oh, absolutely.
And they're in fruit, and fruit's good for you. So,
like, we can...
Don't be scared of your sugars.
Obviously, if you have too much of them, that's probably a bad idea too, just because of
And
insulin responses and stuff. But
yeah,
I mean, and diabetics.
And you don't want to be consuming too much of your diet through sugar because you're probably going to be missing out on other nutrients as well. Then, right?
Absolutely. So it's all got its
moderation,
balance,
moderation, like everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
Eat it in moderation.
And I'm pretty sure we're going to keep coming back to that.
Yep.
Another one, target fat reduction or target fat loss.
Spot reduction.
Spot reduction. Good old.
Spot reduction.
Very common misconception.
Yeah, this is another one I still get. This is another one that's
get it a lot as well.
Pretty common.
Yeah.
Oh, I've been doing like 400 crunches and still no six pack and blah blah blah. Yeah. Has there ever been like scientific proof? Was there even like a badly done study to prove spot reduction?
There was one.
I've never seen anything. Was there?
You brought up one that was like maybe. But it was
a theory. It was a theory, I think. I don't know if there was actually studies.
Yeah, okay. Because, I mean, where was it? Because something about training a muscle and then putting yourself into a deficit or doing a bit of cardio or something could potentially see a little bit.
I think the idea, the theory of mobilizing the fat in a specific area. Say I was doing bicep curls. That has the... I don't know. It mobilizes the fat stores in around your bicep region, and then secondly being in an energy deficit, and thirdly once you've mobilized that fat, getting into your fat burning zone would essentially burn fat from that specific area.
Maybe.
Never
seen a study for
seen
it though.
Anything backed up by it. Never have. I don't think you'd ever. In the real world, I don't think it'd be
it's negligible.
thing. Hey, can you just go do like 400 crunches for me? Train your abs for 10 minutes,
and then jump on the treadmill.
Make sure we're in an energy deficit, and then jump on the treadie in your fat burning zone for the next 20 minutes, please.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, people might go to the extent, but
it's just a waste of time too. Like you're cutting into other training, other more time you could be training other things as well.
Yeah. If you literally just focused on energy balance,
you'll lose that fat.
Probably going to lose weight. It's going to go from there at some point.
It'll peel off there eventually. Like
your body favours certain places. Usually, it's the place you want it to come from is the last place to go. That
generally,
just sucks. That's the way it is. Yeah,
it's kind of the fat that's been there the most. Well, been around the longest. So, that's
But it will go.
Yeah, eventually.
The fat stores will eventually be tapped into.
Just stick to it. Another one. If you want to lose fat, you have to cut your calories to bare minimum. Or you have to barely be eating. I
don't mind a bit of aggressive dieting for people.
That. Are you serious?
I don't mind the old from maintenance or surplus straight into a 50% deficit. I think that's great.
Fuck that. It's such a shock, but
look, I wouldn't recommend that for like
anyone.
95% of people. Yeah,
exactly.
It's only for the diehards with a real strict timeline.
And
then
I
may
go
into that sort of thing.
We've got how many weeks to do this? Are you fucking serious? What?
Yeah.
It's got its place, but
any deficit will lead to
fat loss.
Any energy deficit will lead to some kind of fat loss.
You can't beat thermodynamics or
But
physics.
also, don't rely purely on your calorie intake.
Oh, you get to a point where you're just
not eating enough nutrients. You can ramp up your training volume.
Yeah, we want you eating as much as you can. We want you to feel as satisfied as you can.
Who doesn't want to eat?
Yeah, exactly.
Move more. Eat the same, move more.
We'll create a deficit somehow.
We'll find a way while we're trying to maintain as much food as possible.
Exactly. I think that's pretty much covered. There was something I wanted to say
there.
Forgot about it. Oh, well.
Go on.
That's right, yeah. I've just seen like when I used to work at Kmart, we had all these diet books and stuff, and it's like the Fast 800 or something like that, and it's like, are you serious?
800 cow.
Yeah, 800 cows, just, yeah.
Well, I guess pretty much every diet's based around just crashing your calorie intake, right? Like
pretty much, all the fat
keto,
diets, yeah.
Low carb, intermittent fasting. What do they all do?
Cut your
They
calories.
significantly reduce your calorie intake. You're going to lose weight. You're going to feel like fucking shit, but you're going to lose weight.
But then after you finish it, you're going to go back to eating how you were anyway.
Exactly. You're going to rebound straight back out of it.
That's
so you felt like shit, lost a bit of weight, gained it all, and it was all for nothing.
Had a good little 8-week period, but we're back to square one. Here's another one, another big misconception again. Keto is the best diet. Like, I don't know how many people I've talked to who are keen on doing a keto diet or anything like that and tried to talk them out of it. It's just a restrictive diet, another restrictive fad diet, really. All it's doing is just restricting your carbohydrates. Generally, where you find most of your carbohydrates are in those highly processed foods, your ice creams, your packet chips, all that kind of stuff. When people stop eating them, they're like, oh, I'm feeling so much clearer, my head's so much better. Like, yeah, you're cutting out all the other processed shit, but the carbohydrates weren't the ones making you feel like shit.
Yeah. It's probably because they increase their protein intake a little bit too.
That too, yeah. Like, if you've got 2 food groups to choose from. But then, man, think of all the like vital nutrients you're missing out on from your fruits, from your veggies, from all that kind of stuff.
It's the same as what we said before. Like, you just know.
Just don't. Carbs
generally, people come to me and they're so set on doing a keto. Over the few years, I've slowly retrained a few people away from ketos and low carbs and things like that. But I kind of let them learn the lesson to start with, and then slowly start reintroducing things and whatnot. I think the only time keto is like a definite is for epilepsy. Is that right?
I don't know.
Epileptics I'm pretty sure it has something to do with epilepsy.
That sounds familiar, but so I think you're on the right track.
I think it's got benefits for seizures and things like that.
Yeah.
But for the rest of us,
which is most people,
not a good time.
Generally,
not a good time.
not fun at all.
Time. Yeah.
Here's another one. HIIT training is better for fat loss than LIS. So you see lots of influencers say it, or high intensity training is better than your long steady state cardio for fat loss. But I mean, again, it has its place, but you're kind of comparing apples and oranges here. Like, they're not.
If you were to do HIIT and LIS for the same amount of time each week, then HIIT's probably going to consume more calories, right?
Absolutely, but generally you can't.
Recovery, exactly. If you're doing a 10-minute LIS workout, then sweet, you can probably match it.
10 minutes on it.
But then it comes down to HIIT being harder to recover from as well.
Yeah.
So it's almost like where we talked about muscle damage before. You can get fat loss out of doing an hour of LIS a day or 10 to 15 minutes of HIIT. But it's still
the recovery burden.
The recovery toll from HIIT is still bigger.
Absolutely.
Whereas LIS actually acts as an active recovery.
So it helps you flush more blood into those muscles.
It comes down to a time thing. I guess HIIT's become so, I don't know.
I mean, I'm all for it. Like, it's just a tool, really.
Yeah. Popular due to, like, time management these days. Everyone wants results and wants them yesterday. So, and, like, in all honesty, like, I don't mind LIS, but I've got a pretty short attention span. If I want to get in and burn some calories quick, I don't mind a HIIT workout. Then the stress relief you get from LIS, like get outside, walking, fresh air, on a beach barefoot, like that shit's fucking awesome.
Stress-free.
How relaxing is that? How good do you feel afterwards?
Oh, so much better. Well, actually, I can plan the whole time, and then I get back home and I'm like, that was
and then you feel euphoric.
Yeah, exactly.
So I mean, they both have their place. I wouldn't say one's better than the other. You will get more calories burnt per minute of work from HIIT. Obviously, it's fucking harder. Your heart rate's
very high intensity.
Busting ass.
Yeah, exactly.
But I wouldn't say one's better than the other. Utilize both.
They're tools.
Utilize the one that you prefer, or utilize the one that's going to work best for you.
That's exactly
in your current situation, which may change.
Fit it into your schedule.
If I've got
into your
training volume super high for someone, I'm probably leaning more towards LIS. If I've only got a few training days, low volume, then I can probably throw a few HIIT workouts in there too.
Yeah, again, comes down to recovery of that as well. So here's another one. Egg yolks are bad for you. So you generally see a lot of bodybuilders, they'll have their egg whites and then throw out all the yolks or whatever. But you want to break this one down a little bit for us.
Yeah, so this one's been around for years and it just won't die. It's not. I think.
I won't cark it.
I think it just keeps circulating, not because there's so many believers that think the yolk is bad for you. The bodybuilding world kind of avoids the yolk because I think in the average egg it's something like 50 calories come from the yolk and 15 calories come from the white.
It's just
and
fat.
The white actually contains slightly more protein. It's minute, but
it's negligible
than the yolk itself. So the bodybuilding world looks at it as protein source, low calorie source.
More of like a macro of breakdown.
Yeah, that's why we're going to use it. And then the real world kind of just adapted the cholesterol thing, and then that's been completely debunked. It's full of cholesterol, but it's cholesterol that's good for you.
Yeah. Also, I've heard dietary cholesterol also doesn't equate equate to blood cholesterol either. Yeah. So
it's exactly like it's just fat, right? Fat doesn't equate to adipose tissue.
Yeah, exactly. Your body's going to break it down and use it where it needs it.
Yeah. May store it if it needs to.
But then also eating the yolks is beneficial too.
Yeah. You've got all your vitamins. It's loaded with vitamin nutrients, man. Like I think
absolutely
they say how there's superfoods. I think egg yolks are a legit superfood. I think they are one of the most nutrient dense things on this planet.
Sorry, vegans.
Shit happens.
Next one, we've kind of talked about it a little bit, but lifting weights makes you bulky. And again, it comes down to, I guess, your training volume, all that kind of stuff, your predisposition to gaining muscle mass, your gender, if you're a bloke or a chick, your testosterone levels, all that kind of stuff. So many more factors that go into it. You got anything more to add to that one, or?
If you do feel like you're getting bulky, stop lifting weights for a week or two and you'll no longer be bulky.
You'll see yourself.
So why not test it out? You've got really nothing to lose. You can make muscle disappear a lot quicker than you
lose.
gained it.
You can always lose muscle. Come on.
Yeah, that's not an issue.
That's no biggie. That's obviously not preferred in most people, but each to their own.
If you were worried about how bulky you are, then possibly.
Each to their own.
I mean, I have trained, so females in the past for like bikini comps, fitness programs, and certain muscle groups do become too muscular. For instance, traps. Who's someone that comes?
Triceps.
Kel that I trained years ago. Kelly O'Reilly. Congratulations, Kel and Sean. She's currently pregnant.
Yeah, I saw that.
She at one stage for one of our preps, traps started getting a little bit bulky, so we needed to sort of stop loading them. We weren't doing any shrugs, obviously. We're not that stupid. We don't want fitness.
We don't want traps.
So they were getting their stimulus through our back work and deadies and that. So we just cut back deadies, I don't know, there might have been one back exercise. So we avoided the deadies and the upright rows. Within weeks, traps were no longer an issue.
It's funny how that happens.
So there you go. That was indirect training that caused the hypertrophy of the traps. So if you were directly training a muscle group and then stopped training it, probably even more so it's gonna.
You're losing all this extra stimulus. Just goes out the door. They're like, we're only doing this kind of minute.
We no longer need it anymore. Let's shrink.
Let's use this somewhere else.
You kind of covered it earlier when you said the body doesn't really want to hold muscle mass.
Yeah, it's expensive calorie wise.
Why keep it?
Yeah, your body just wants to not do anything at all. It just wants to stay alive. So whatever energy it can get, it's going to use. Whatever energy it can conserve and reuse somewhere, it's going to. Another one, resistance training is only beneficial for your muscles. So resistance training should only be for bodybuilders, strength trainers, only if you want to look a certain way or lift a certain amount of weight or perform a certain way. That's just generally not the case. There's so many other mental, psychological benefits as well.
So I actually made a list for this because I could never remember how many benefits. So I sat down 5 minutes before this and I started making a list and trying to nut out, and I still missed some.
Do you want to...
Here's my list.
Hear it out.
Here's my list.
You got that up next to you? Or?
Protects your joints.
Oh, yeah.
Increases flexibility. Reduced cognitive decline.
Ooh.
Prevention of most chronic diseases, including diabetes and heart disease. 2 big ones, right?
That's the 2 major ones.
Improved balance, improved posture, improved bone health, improved self-confidence and self-esteem.
A few more benefits.
And the list keeps going on and on. It's never ending. It's pretty much like all research these days says that if you had to choose one form of exercise, resistance training would be it.
Kills so many birds. Plus, You can get your heart rate into your target fat zone while resistance training as well. Like,
exactly.
do alternating supersets of like upper body, lower body, or agonist, protagonist muscles. Like, you can get your heart rate up and you can sweat pretty good.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you can make it an aerobic workout
while resistance training. Yeah, exactly. There's
so like you can seriously hit every bird with one stone.
It's a big one. That's why we kind of focus on it, really.
Yeah.
Wouldn't go past it. So, planks and sit-ups will give me a shredded six-pack.
In an energy deficit, if the extra sit-ups and planks are what roll you
Tips
into
you over the edge.
Then
It's
yes, mate, maybe if you're already reasonably lean, and then they were just the icing on top to go into the deficit required to hit like that sub 12% for males, and maybe females at like 15 will start seeing some six-pack. But shredded six-pack, like, blokes have to probably be like under six.
Still got to be in a hell of a calorie deficit for that.
Sit-ups and planks alone won't cut it.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Also, it's good, obviously, to still train your core, but it's got its place.
It's like any other exercise, right? I do squats, I'm making my legs bigger and stronger. I'm not trying to make them shredded. I'll rely on an energy deficit to try and get those feathered quads and see those road mappy veins and stuff.
I've still got one mate. He always texts me. He was like, "Hey, I really want to lose weight in my legs. So should I just do 200 squats or something?" And I'm like, "Eat less."
Well, if it caused
if it caused that energy deficit,
if it was enough to tip him over the edge. No, he's one of the ones doing the Macca's run before and after the 200 squats.
Big boy. Fat burners and pre-workouts are essential.
I researched this one. So I obviously had my answer.
Yep.
But I wanted to dig a little bit deeper.
Yep.
And actually know some specific numbers. So, most fat burners, what's the key ingredient?
Caffeine.
Most pre-workouts, what's the key ingredient?
Caffeine.
What's pretty much the only or the main scientifically proven supplement on the market that most of these contain?
Caffeine. And creatine.
Caffeine.
But caffeine.
All right, so, but mostly caffeine. If we're talking about fat burners and
or
stuff.
Or the pre-workouts, it's like you want that buzz.
Stimulation.
Caffeine.
Right? So, I looked up specifically how much of an increase to your metabolic rate you get for caffeine. Are you ready for this?
How much?
For 100 milligrams of caffeine, you will increase your metabolic rate by about 4 calories an hour.
I've always been like, there's a little bit of a maybe because of the metabolic attack.
I knew that this was going to come up. Like that was going to be one of my hits with it. I was like, look, it's caffeine's great. It's a potent 4 calories. So you know how these people have their fat burners, like not even within a workout. They just have their fat burner in the morning just to increase their metabolic rate. 4 calories an hour per 100 milligrams of caffeine.
That's like...
Most fat burners probably have 100 to 200 milligrams in them.
Generally,
most pre-workouts have like 4 to 500. I don't know.
You want a bit of a kick in them.
Yeah. So performance-wise, caffeine's fantastic,
great. It's great.
And what number? I think we covered... Did we cover this at some point as well? We've covered this at 3 to 5 milligrams per kilogram of body weight for caffeine for performance and cognitive enhancement.
We haven't said that in a podcast, but we have covered that in our supplements guide.
That's what we covered on Monday, was it? Is that why it's fresh in my mind?
It could be.
Unless
you've done a little bit of reading anyway. It's
No. I never remember those numbers, but that was fresh in my mind.
Yeah, I can't remember the specific numbers, but it's somewhere around there. Like, so if you're 100 kilo, about 400, 500 grams. That makes about a bit of sense.
3 to 5 milligrams per kilogram is for performance enhancement. So pre-workouts and fat burners that contain enough caffeine to do that will have performance enhancement, will increase your metabolic rate ever so slightly.
And it's also...
having your fat burner in the morning, just for the sake of it, your fat burner AM or whatever... You
get a gram of sugar in your coffee. There you go.
Yeah, exactly. And most other ingredients that are in these fat burners usually contain calories, right?
So it's just It's
So
gone
the
backwards.
calories you're burning from the increased metabolic rate from the caffeine
Are back
probably
in
negated
by all the calories in the supplement.
by the calories you're drinking in the supplement.
Yeah.
But so definitely not essential. But if fat burners and pre-workouts are the thing that gets you off your ass and into the gym or moving,
by all means,
fucking
use
they're
them.
essential.
Yeah,
They're
absolutely.
good.
If they get you there,
If it's a difference, yeah.
Good on ya.
If it's a difference, we're not necessarily for them. But if that's what helps, I've had plenty of people in the past like, yeah, this pre-workout, I love this, gets me all amped up for my workout, whatever. That's not fantastic all the time, but if that's what gets you to the gym, gets you training, that's better than you sitting at home and doing whatever else you're going to fucking do.
absolutely. Like, I'm all for pre-work. Like, not all for it. If you can save the money, if you don't need them, don't use them.
I think you take pre-workouts, don't you, Haydn? But you find ones with key ingredients in like right dosages.
L-citrulline,
and things like that.
malic acid, all that shit. Just chasing the pump, brah.
But and that too, like pre-workouts that contain enough citrulline and I don't know
all the nitrates and stuff. Sodium
beetroot
and
extracts and potassium nitrates, whatever else
Good
you
pumps.
have these days.
But again, also not essential for a good workout unless
Definitely not essential.
Yeah, unless you're jacked up on caffeine and have an unhealthy tolerance to it. Just stay away from that. You don't need it. It's save your money. Put it somewhere else unless you just want to. In which case,
For those wanting to build muscle too, like caffeine overuse is not a good thing, right?
The
like it's
cortisol.
overstimulation. That's like whenever we're stimulated and releasing cortisol, we're catabolic.
Yeah,
Whenever
we're not
we're
recovering. We're
relaxed
not building muscle.
and not stimmed off our head, we're anabolic, building muscle. So like lots of guys with pre-workouts these days, like try and find your pump pre-workouts with minimal stim in it.
Only use the stim if you actually need it, and then also don't have that too close to bed either. You'll be cutting into your sleep, and then that's a whole nother.
And then recovery's gone to shit even more.
Yeah, exactly.
You just use a kettle of fish. Like
good.
Good.
I was going to say, it turns out it is actually a saying.
Yeah,
so.
I know. I looked it up afterwards.
So did I. I was going to text you, and I'm like, nah, that's a bit weird. I won't do that.
I tried to make sense of it. It still didn't make sense to me. Apparently, there was a fish fucking saucepan, and that's what a kettle of fish comes from or something. That's what I got nothing out of it,
Good soup.
I tried to make sense of the saying.
Not happening.
Had nothing.
Here's another one you hear from the legendary Rich Piana. You got to confuse a muscle to make it grow, right, babe? But changing your exercises every session to confuse your muscles is going to cause a greater stimulus and more hypertrophy or more muscle growth, which I am not at all for, really. You can't just go chopping and changing exercises. Again, it just wrecks like your progress tracking and stuff. Like, how do we grow muscle? Progressive overload's a massive one. You got to be doing something a little bit more than last time. You're not going to know you're doing something a little bit more if you're changing an exercise and then it's completely different stimulus. Like, you can't really track that well, so it becomes a tracking problem.
All comes down to adaptation. So it's like calluses are probably the easiest example here. So just say I was picking this knuckle for a few days, and I started picking this one. By the time I got back to this one, that callus is gone, right?
Yeah.
But if I continually just kept on picking that same one for 6 weeks, 3 to 6 weeks, that callus is going to be fucking jacked, man.
Yeah, fucking
Muscles are the same. Like, it's an adaptation process. You have to keep chipping away at the same fucking thing over and over, same movement patterns and things like that. Body will eventually go, fuck, I've got to get better at this. I better get bigger and stronger because this motherfucker won't stop doing it to me. All right, I'm going to hypertrophy.
Exactly. Again,
it won't happen as well when you're just chopping and changing, program hopping all the time.
Chasing the pump, trying to just get a good pump.
We're all guilty of it. Like, if your goal is just to enjoy a workout, fucking go in and do whatever you please.
But if you've got a solid goal, train with intent. Like, you've got your plan for a reason. We programmed this for a reason, so we get better and better at the same movement pattern. And then maybe if it starts to get stale or we're not feeling it as much anymore, or it just, we start to get little niggly injuries or something, then we'll change it to something different, but still similar for your same muscle group. But yeah, again, changing your exercises every week's just generally not going to get you very far. You'll just be spinning your wheels.
I reckon we could cover a whole podcast on programming.
We probably could.
And don't we have you writing up our programming
I've started doing
presentation at the moment. Yeah, I bet you have.
When's that due?
Oh, man, yesterday.
Oh, yeah, it's done.
No, we had no deadline on that.
Give me an hour.
Work in progress, mate. Work in progress.
Exactly. No, I actually got some good points down for that. That I should send you just to see what we should cover. Another one. Booty bands are essential for building your glutes. You got to do squats with booty bands to get
This is a
the
bit like the other one where we say if we worded it differently, like they can be a good addition to glute training.
Great.
But
tool.
essential, fuck no.
No, you can do deadlifts. You can do hip thrusts. You can do
many of exercises. Like you break down the anatomy of the glutes and then you just kind of select exercises that get each muscle group in a shortened and a lengthened position. You're going to hypertrophy it, right?
But then
I would say, like, say in a program I have 6 glute specific exercises. Maybe one of them contains bands, maybe 2. Currently in lockdown, like it's like half of them.
Yeah, obviously it's what we got available.
Because we're limited. I don't have like machines and cables to be doing like your abduction work with people. But I'm still like incorporating your hip thrusts, your RDLs.
Absolutely.
It'd be nice if I could do back extensions, but I can't.
Would be good, wouldn't it?
Like they're the meat and nuts of glute training, and then machine and cable variations for abduction are probably my go-tos. But then I always chuck a few banded exercises. I like banded, obviously for abduction exercises. You got clams, fire hydrants, all that kind of shit.
But then if you look at the anatomy of the glutes too, what's their main function? Hip extension, right?
Yep.
How much hip extension can you get with a booty band? It's
Band
all
doesn't really
abduction
create
work,
that
really.
resistance, does it?
Yeah. There's no resistance.
We should try and get a photo of the anatomy of the glutes and show glute med
and glute max.
Glute max.
Which one's the bigger one?
Yeah.
I don't know. Kind of said in the name, isn't it?
Glute max. I don't know.
Somewhere in there. That's actually all we've got. The whole 25 we were able to come up with.
How long did that take us?
That only took us about an hour. Fucking hell.
That's pretty good. We nailed
Not
that.
bad timing. That's good. You haven't got any
I think
others?
we managed to rush through.
Yeah,
but I think we
part two.
cut, man. There's not too many more myths. Between you, Britt, myself and Liz, I think we've pretty much nailed
Most of them.
95% of the common myths.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, we'll probably even do a part 2, so we'll throw something up on our Insta and just be asking, hey, what are some kind of misconceptions or common fitness kind of, things you've heard in the past, not from us, and we can, assess them, see if they're, right, wrong, have their place, don't,
So if we can get like 20 more that we didn't cover today, then hell yeah, let's do another episode.
Okay, part 2.
Well, I mean, let's get you and Liz to do another episode.
Let's get me.
There's only so much of this podcast and shit I can do.
How many have you been on recently? Like, that's 3rd now in a row?
This has to be 3 in a row. What is this shit?
Good on ya. That's almost better record than I've got.
Not quite, mate.
Not quite there yet. 14, 15.
Bit of way to go. This is number 15, I believe.
15 strong? Wow.
Yeah.
Love how you know more about
this. We had
than
to
me.
do 14 twice because the first 14 had a malfunction.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So 15 became 14 and now this 16 becomes
15. Good old malfunctions. We love our Zoom recordings, don't we?
Lockdown, love it.
Good fun. All right. Well, that's all we've pretty much got today. That's all we've got time for. We don't want this to drag out too much longer. So, Greg, you got anything to add?
I mean, that's pretty much it. Just
Perfect.
hope everyone's staying healthy and safe during lockdown, as boring as it may be.
As tedious as it is.
There's an end, there's light at the end of the tunnel, I'm sure. So
Eventually, we'll see.
yeah.
But yeah, thanks again, obviously, for coming on. It's great to have you on as always. Love picking your brain. Just love having a bit of banter with you. It's good fun.
You don't need to suck up.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, perfect. Without further ado, I reckon we jump off this. Go train the rest of your clients. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you everyone for watching again. We'll see you all next week. Hopefully Greg will be along again, but we'll see about that.
We'll see.
And hopefully Lizzie B will be back as well, because we've been missing her sorely on this podcast
This
so
is
far.
very unorganised without Lizzie B running the show.
Hella. I'm like, what am I doing here by myself? What? But don't forget, guys, check Greg out on Instagram if you haven't already, at Coach Greg Wasson. You can find us on Instagram at Alpha Strength and Physique. Follow myself at Coach Haydn Thompson. Yeah, that's about it. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode. Stay safe, be kind, be happy. We'll see you there.
Until
See you guys.
next time.